Hello and welcome to rounds 10 and 11 of the 2013 GT Cup Championship. For the penultimate meet of the season, we ventured to a circuit that has undergone somewhat of a renaissance over the past couple of years, following a multi-million-pound redevelopment project at the start of 2011. We are so excited to be a part of it, and it could be where Alex Martin secures his GTC Championship title. Welcome to Snetterton.
Jeff Wyatt,
Jacques Diver, Rossen,
Seamus Jennings,
Peter Jennings,
Alex Martin.
Okay, Jeff, you made a few changes for the qualifying, didn't you? And you've actually improved your lap time since the testing, haven't you?
Yeah, we found second and a half in testing this morning, so which is a lot. It's a lot of time. We put that into practice in qualifying, and we're just in front of Chris Bentley in his Porsche, which is good. I mean, Chris is a bit of a rival for me in the class, so nice to get in front of him in qualifying.
And tell us what are these changes that you made?
Geometry changes and changing the camber to make the tyres work. It's all about the tyres, and Jeff Still Racing have done their job great.
Jack, you're pole in your class. Are you happy so far with the result in qualifying?
Yeah, very happy. It's the first time that I am first on the grid, which is quite interesting. First time for me, so I'm looking forward to that. And polling class is also nice.
Rossen, tell us about the car, because I know it's the first time out at Silverstone ever, wasn't it? So how did that go for you?
I am very satisfied because from Silverstone till today we have 10 days hard work, and we changed complete suspension, uprights, control arms, everything is brand new design because we saw weak points. So we are here just to develop our road car and to be sure that if we give this car to somebody, he can drive everywhere, not only on the streets. So today practice we are 7 seconds behind the first, but the engine is just 440 PS. So for this first year, this is pretty good for us.
Okay, Seamus, first off, tell us about quali. How was it for you? I know you were fourth in your class.
Yeah, quali was very interesting. The track was dry, so we were able to push on a bit. So was everybody else, so I managed to end up fourth in class, which probably is appropriate.
Okay, it's quite a long track, isn't it? How does that make a difference to you in the car? Does it suit you?
I think the longer tracks are probably a bit better. Obviously they're harder to learn every individual corner, but when you spend a good test day and then a race day like today, you can really get the handle on all of them. It's a nice open track, Snetterton. If you do have a little bit of rain, because it is so open, the wind and sun dries it up pretty quickly. So all in all, we give Snetterton a big 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 maybe.
Okay, Peter, we just had qualifying. You were third in your class. Everything seemed to be going to plan.
Yeah, everything did go to plan. As I was saying, I wish I had something better to tell you, but conditions were great. The car setup felt good for me. I drove to my ability, and I think third's where I should be, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm very happy.
And tell us, what do you think about this circuit here at Snetterton? It's a relatively new one, isn't it? It's undergone a lot of redevelopment of late.
Yes, that's right. I think, I'm only new to the motorsport game. I started racing. This is my first full season, actually. So I was here once last year in testing. So this is all I know the circuit to be like. So it's no different to me. Everyone else complains the new infield might be a bit different, a little bit more difficult from what it was, but it's all I know. So I'm happy with it. Yeah.
All right, Alex. We just had qualifying. Tell us a little bit about how it went for you. I know that the car seemed to be down on power a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. We've just looked at the data, and I was trying to rack my brains, thinking I've done a horrible job, and it seemed that I've done right around the difficult bits. It's the straights that I was losing time on, so they'll tinker around with the car, make sure everything's okay. The worry is that if something was really wrong, we might not finish, because all we need to do is finish every race, and then I think that's it. This championship wrapped up.
And of course, you are aiming to get your GTC Championship title. Much pressure, because I know you're not going to be at the final round in Donington, so it is a case of wrapping it all up this weekend.
I don't really get affected by pressure until the very last minute. I don't know whether I just don't think about it or it just doesn't get to me, but it's it's right when I sit on the line and I think, oh, I'm in a race, so no, I'm feeling fine now.
first 40-minute race. I'm going to have a quick word with Ian Dockrell here. Ian, pole position, are you feeling happy so far with your result? What's the plan of action for the first 40-minute race?
Really just got to survive the first 2 laps and then it'll all pan out from there really. Just glad it's not raining.
Okay, thank you, best of luck.
So Ian Dockrell starts on pole position. Alongside it, Jacques Diver starting. He's the GTC pole man. Ian Loggy takes the GTB pole. He's partnered by Chris Jones this weekend. And back to 12th position for GTA pole. Ross McEwen, of course, due to co-drive with Rory Butcher. Addition to the grid, not qualifying, but starting off the back is Ben Tompkins in the Ginetta G50. Round 10 of the 2013 GT Cup Championship, the penultimate event of the year here at Snetterton on the fantastic 300 circuit. Something for everybody in this track, plenty of fast straights, lots of twisting, challenging corners. There's Will Goff in car number 59, who lines up second in GTB, getting ready for the start. A very good order rolling start. Ian Dockrell and Jacques Diver on the front. Look how crowded it is going down into the first turn. On board with Alex Martin. Ross and Daskaloff on the inside. Marcus Vivian in the G50 tries to go around the outside. Cracking start though by Andy Ruin in the white 16 Porsche, the 2011 GT Cup champion, on the circuit where he claimed the championship 2 years ago. Now on board with Marcus Vivian down into Montreal. Hard on the brakes. You can see how crowded this is. It's going to be a very crowded infield section on these early laps. On board with Peter Jennings. Jacques Divers lost out from his front row position, lost a couple of places, and Jennings tees him up in the Ferrari down the inside on the run from Palmer. This is the view from Agostini. Ian Dockrell leads. Peter Jennings down the inside, bang! Into Andy Ruin. And Jennings is off onto the grass, possibly off into retirement. Now, has that damaged significantly Andy Ruin's car, the former champion? Well, Jennings is back on. Rest of the cars coming through. This is the view from Marcus Vivian. Jacques Diver's off as well. Diver's off on the grass. The front row qualifier is out. Marcus Vivian down the inside of Rupert Martin. Jacques Diver recovering, which is good to see. Peter Jennings at the back of the trio you're looking at the moment. That's Ben Tompkins in the Ginetta G50 ahead of him. The Sin ahead, Ross and Daskaloff having his second race meeting with us and developing the car. Rupert Martin past Marcus Vivian as we go back to Ian Loggy, leading from Alex Martin. When I say leading, he's in second position at the moment. Alex Martin in third and Will Goff in fourth place, running second in GTB. The white, green and black Porsche of Ian Loggy leading GTB, so we've potentially got a B-class battle going on here. Now the GTC of Alex Martin, obviously looking to get another class win here, very close to sewing up the GTC championship in this race. Peter Jennings and Marcus Vivian, there goes Jennings, past the G50. Marcus Vivian, of course, running in GTA. Peter Jennings in GTC, and goes past. Also through on the inside goes Ross and Daskaloff, so the Sin running well. Here's the view once again from Agostini. A good passing position if you're close enough to have a look up the inside here, but nobody close to chase Ian Dockrell at the moment. There's Will Goff looking to add to the class win that he took at Alton Park. And problems for the former champion Andy Ruin out of the race. So back we go to the third place car at the moment. Alex Martin, championship leader. Not quite sure he can sew the overall championship up today. Now remember, second in the table is Jeff Wyatt in the Jeff Steel Racing BMW M3. And there are bonus points available for completing both days of the last 2 rounds. So we're expecting the championship overall to go to the wire. Ian Docker, although still leading this one. Ian Logie second. Third position is Alex Martin, still a long way to go. We've got pit stops and driver changes. Remember, the championship leader has the longest stop. 1 minute 35 is due for Alex Martin. Ian Logie getting closer and closer in the Logston Group Porsche 997 GT3. So Ian working hard down the centre straight. This is where they'll pick up the pit signal. Somebody's got a black flag going out to them. Not sure who that is at this stage as the cars go down into the first corner once again. There's Rupert Martin, who's having a good run once again in GTC, hoping to reclaim second position in the GTC Championship this weekend. Circuit staying dry, which is going to please Ian Dockrell. Peter Jennings looks at the inside of Rupert Martin, but all to no avail at the moment.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back to Snetterton. Former champion Andy Ruin about to rejoin the race, which is good. Puncture repaired on that car. Peter Jennings closing in on Rupert Martin here. Onto the Bentley straight. This long straight affords a chance to pass on the way into the Brundle left-hander. Jennings giving notice of intent early. Comes out of the slipstream, looks to the inside. Very clean manoeuvre. He's passed Rupert Martin. Rupert, of course, perhaps on course for second in GTC in the championship. It was father and son, second and first in GTC after the Indy circuit round at Brands Hatch. And Rupert still running superbly in the LEDX. There's I think that's the tyre of Andy Ruin. Jacques Diver, after his moment off the circuit on the early laps, is closing in on Rupert Martin as well. So Diver's having a very good race. Along centre straight, great shot there, gives you an idea of the very slight incline in the track. And Diver looking at the inside of Rupert Martin as they come into turn one. He's gone through, makes the position up. So a good recovery drive from the 21 car of Jacques Diver, running very well indeed. Peter Jennings now closing in on his dad Seamus in the 20 car. We'll see whether Peter's going to get. And Jacques Diver in the mix as well. You can see the black Ferrari behind, and also behind them a change of livery this weekend. The fourth Ferrari, which we'll just see come into shot in a minute, around Palmer corner at the back of shot, is Chris Dockrell, the number 10 car, normally the lime green car. Good move there by Peter Jennings, passes his dad but runs wide on the exit of Agostini. Seamus is following him along to Hamilton and gets the position back. Wonderful piece of racing. 5 Ferraris all in shot momentarily there. What a wonderful sight this is. This is why the people come to watch the GT Cup, the MSV circuits up and down the country. It's a marvellous spectacle. The battle of the Ferraris, absolutely royal here, with Seamus Jennings still out front. Jacques Diver in black on his recovery is running well. Let's see whether Jacques going to be able to do to Peter what Peter did to Rupert Martin earlier on. Along Bentley straight, at the moment he's not coming out of the slipstream, but I think he's close enough, has a challenge, looks down the inside. But Peter Jennings hangs on to it in the 30 car. The FF Corsa prepared machine of Peter Jennings, who's now got to worry about Jacques Diver behind him rather than perhaps challenge his dad up front. Although having said that, his dad's not getting away at the minute. Chris Dockrell's closing in though. This is great to see Chris. Lime green machine in previous rounds, you might recall. So new car this weekend, seems to be bedding himself in well, closing up on this quartet of cars, having a super battle at the moment. Past the pit lane entrance they go, and we'll be getting into pit stop territory soon. Along centre straight, Diver moves out, he's challenging for position here. Jacques Diver on the inside line, and he's through. Diver comes through, but also it looks like Chris Dockrell was challenging, staying on board with Peter Jennings. Dockerow, I thought, was going to make a move up the inside. He was probably too far back, but now he's having a go as they come down into Montreal. Looks to the inside line, nothing doing there. Getting ready for driver changes, as you can see. Peter Jennings challenging hard. It's still Seamus in front. Seamus will hand over to Phil Andrews. Peter is staying in the car on his own and still challenging his dad hard. So the white Ferrari comes offline very early. That's clear notice of intent. He wants to make the pass as they come down Bentley straight into Brundle. Under the bridge, Jennings is through. Jennings past Jennings. Son passes the father. Now where's Chris Dockerow in all this? Let's have a look. Dockerow's right there as well. So Chris Dockerow lining up to have a little challenge too. The number 10 car, this is good form from Chris Dockerow this weekend. Looks at the inside at Coram. Dab on the brakes. Can he keep it there? No, he can't. Slightly more momentum around that wider line for Seamus Jennings, who hangs on to position. But Chris Dockerow closing in. Onto centre straight once again. They'll pick up the signals. Look at this move by Chris Dockerow. Comes out of the slipstream. This is the long way round. If he can edge ahead by the time they get to turn one, then he'll turn in and take the position. Is he going to do it? Yes, he has. Very clean, fair racing again from these Ferraris. Chris Dockerow goes through, and now he's got to chase Peter Jennings. Looks at the inside line as they come up to the Montreal hairpin. I'm not sure Peter's seen him. There's room on the inside. If Peter can hang on in the outside, he'll have the line to Palmer. But he hasn't got the acceleration out of the hairpin. And Chris Dockerow goes through. Brilliant manoeuvre by Chris Dockerow. The credit card sales car having a real strong run here. Pit stop window open. Alex Martin, championship leader, coming in. Leader in GTC. There is the Logson Group Porsche coming in. First stint of the race, of course, done by Ian Loggy, who will hand over to Chris Jones. Meanwhile, back at Agostini corner, Seamus Jennings coming under pressure from... Now, is that Jacques Diver? I'm guessing from track position now, because he's lost positions. That's going to be Charlie Hollings, the Yorkshire-based driver, who's starting to put the pressure on Seamus, who will hand over to Phil Andrews. So we've still got a fair way to go in this race. A terrific mixture, of course. Out goes Chris Jones after a tyre change here at Snetterton, so 2 stops for them. They're right down the order.
Ian, I know you had the first stint, you had a good start as well, but we just saw Chris just pit there with a front left puncher. Just tell us what happened.
I had a great start, second position, really happy with that. Chris has went out after pitting. We were in fourth, he's back into third, and he's noticed that we've got a puncture on the near side. He's brought it in. It's cost us a minute. I think that's it. I'd be very, very surprised if we can catch any of the class 3 cars, which is the class we're running in. So never mind, we'll be back tomorrow.
Good fighting spirit from Ian Lockie. Peter Jennings takes a spin. Now, was that self-induced? I can't see anyone else. Peter gets the car back on track, initially facing the wrong way. A very scary moment for the FF Corsa driver, but he's back on track.
Jacques, I know you started on pole in your class, but it was quite a turbulent first lap that cost you, wasn't it, really?
Yes, well, I couldn't get the right gear, so the gears were giving me problems. So a lot of guys passed me, and the guy said, well, try and flip the switch. And then I ended up asking the pit wall back which switch. and then 2 guys spun in front of me while I was looking for the switch, went too fast into Hamilton, spun, had to do all the work, recovered it all, got into P3, was about to take P2 in the hairpin, and stupid driver error. I went for the brakes because of late braking, trying to overtake the guy, and I slipped off the brake pedal and onto the gas, second spin in the hairpin. So all that work for nothing, but Charlie's, we recovered a bit, got back up the field, and Charlie's taken it over from P4 in class, and he's back into P2, and I think P1's too far ahead, Alex is too far ahead.
Well, we'll see how the race develops for them. There is Alex Martin leading this one. As you can see, Charlie Hollings is closing in. Jacques Diver, to be fair, did a very good recovery after that first lap incident. And that work's now being continued by Charlie Hollings down into Hamilton. This the battle for the lead in GTC. Charlie Hollings having a go, comes offline, and he's looking at the inside line of Alex Martin. Has he gone through? We can't see him. Oh, problem there for one of the Porsches. Bit of a brew up going on. Let's hope that that's not terminal. It's Chris Bentley who's off track. Meanwhile, Ian Dockerell still out front in car number 11. The Dockerell's having a great run, but that does not sound right to me. Ian Dockerell's car still clearly making progress. Passes Kevin Riley in the Mosler. Kevin hoping to try and secure the GTO championship this year, but at the moment he's ceding points to Ian Dockerell. It really does not sound healthy at all, the Par Motorsport car. And I suppose the question is, do you soldier on? And of course that's what he's done to the checkered flag. Ian Dockerell takes the win. Chris Dockerell's going to be second. Kevin Riley goes through shot. He's 7th overall and 3rd in GTO. Chris Dockerell 2nd overall. Will Goff's going to take GTB. Jacques Diver is challenging Will Goff. Through they go. Chris Bentley, incidentally, is going to get a classified finish down in 15th. So a first-class win and 2013 win for Ian Dockerell, wins GTO as well from Chris Dockerell. Family Affair 1-2, great for them. Will Goff wins GTB in 3rd place. Jacques Diver and Charlie Hollings 4th, they win GTC, and GTA going to Ross McEwen. He's 2nd winning the championship, but he's 1st as a solo pilot. Well done, Ross.
Will, winner of the GTB class, you're 3rd overall. You must be pretty happy, but you're also pretty hot as well, aren't you?
Yeah, no, it's pretty hot in that car, but no, I'm really happy. Unfortunately, with these types of races with pit stops, you don't really know exactly where you are until right at the end. So I wasn't sure whether I was 2nd in class or 4th overall. I had an inkling that the black Ferrari behind me was catching me for position, so I had to be a bit tactical in the last few corners, and luckily held on for 3rd, so really pleased.
Ross, congratulations. Not a bad race for you. Your 2nd win of the season, so you must be pretty happy.
Yeah, absolutely delighted to come out and to win again after having a great race at Silverstone. Couldn't have been better for us and the team.
Ian, congratulations, 1st in your class. I know the car was struggling a little bit there towards the end, but you managed to hold it together.
Yeah, no, the work was done in the first part of the race, and after the pit stop, I think we're down on a cylinder somewhere because it was beginning to sound like a bit of a tractor inside the car, so it must have sounded terrible outside. Just kept going as best we can. The guys just gave me some good advice to just short shift to protect the engine as much as we can, and we managed to just cling on, really.
It must be such a relief to be on the podium. I know it's quite an eventful race for you, and it all kind of happened in the first lap, really, didn't it?
Yes, I was stood on the pit wall. Jacques started the race, and his first ever time on the front row, so had an interesting couple of laps, eventful couple of laps, not quite going to plan, but yeah, then he got himself back going, but yeah, didn't go too well at the start, and then yeah, we're good, happy to be here in the end, winning the class in the end.
That's the end of a hard-fought race there for Jack and Charlie. Join us after the break for the first of our sprint races.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keene in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
It's not not just about the fast track times here at the GT Cup Championship, but also the enjoyable days out. And for many of our competitors, it's very much a family affair. Now, I'm joined by Peter and Seamus Jennings, and you compete every weekend together, don't you? What's it like actually competing with your son?
It's something, it's fantastic to be able to do a sport with your son. It's rare to be able to do that whenever you've got an age differential such as any father and son would have. It's just very annoying whenever you find your son's always a second quicker than you. And it's something you have to get used to over the years, unfortunately. But it's thoroughly enjoyable. The GT Cup event is, I think, a very friendly event, and it certainly we've been made to feel very, very welcome. All in all, it's a very good experience. I recommend it to anybody.
And I know your dad just touched on you being a second quicker than him. Do you find that you're extra competitive out on track, or do you tend to work together because you're related?
No, not extra competitive at all. I think Dad's done himself a bit of injustice there. Dad's actually, to be fair, an incredibly quick driver as well, and it just so happens some circuits have suited me a little better than Dad, but all in all, there's not a lot between us. We've had a great season racing together. It's been really good fun, yeah.
Here's the grid for round 11 of the championship. Alex Martin on pole. Alongside him, the GTB pole sitter Will Goff. Back on row 2, GTO pole. That goes to Kevin Riley in the Mosler. And back in 11th place on the grid, GTA pole position once again to Ross McEwen. Keep an eye out for Chris Dockrell, who starts right at the back after not setting a time in qualifying. Two ex-Carrera Cup drivers on the front row of the grid, Alex Martin and Will Goff, with Jacques Diver in the black Ferrari menacingly there on the second row of the grid, and on the outside of row 2, Kevin Riley. The lights are on and we're ready to go racing here at Snetterton. Away we go. A tremendous field, largely blue skies, a little bit of cloud cover to keep things cool. On board with Jacques Diver. Look at the battle for the lead. Goff round the outside. And past Ian Loggy, well, not past Ian Loggy, still ahead of Ian Loggy, is Kevin Riley. Loggy challenging hard. It's a great start, I think, right the way down the field. We're on board with the race leader, Alex Martin. This is the view from Jacques Diver in third place. Will Goff second. Down to Palmer for the first time, left-hander. And then pretty much straightens out down into Agostini, where you can get a pass going. It's a great view from the outside of Palmer. Ian Dockrell running at the moment in 6th position behind Ian Loggy. Then it's Peter Jennings. Good to see Dan Stringfellow out in this race as well. Seamus Jennings in the red 20 car on the inside line, dicing with Rupert Martin. Rory Butcher in the mix too, and making progress there in the red Ferrari. Past the red and yellow car is Chris Dockrell from the back of the grid. He's made up about half a dozen places already, and we're not even halfway around the first lap yet, so it looks pretty good for Chris Dockrell, who's making his way through the pack in the GTO class. Alex Martin leads down the Bentley straight. Second place is Will Goff in the In2 Racing Porsche 977. Kevin Riley looks for third place. He's past Divers. Look how hard he's working to keep control of the Mosler as they go through the Brundle-Nelson complex. Ian Loggy passed by race 1 winner Ian Dockrell, having a superb race, so he's got ahead. The first 4 beginning to break clear, so it's a clear quartet for the lead. And Ian Loggy now passed by Chris Dockrell, so Loggy dropping back down the order. Remember, he is racing in GTB, second in the class at the moment. Kevin Riley up to second. Past the GTB car of Will Goff, who remains in the lead of the GTB class. So it's GTC leader, the Ferrari of Alex Martin. GTO car, Mosler in second place. Kevin Riley, the KRM Motorsport machine. He'll be looking for the race lead now. He's got a fair bit of work to do, as you can see at the moment, because Alex Martin's got his head down in this one and starting to pull clear. Will Goff certainly not finished yet either, in third place. GTC leading GTO, leading GTB at the moment. Ross McEwen leading in the GTA class still. Ian Loggy not happy at all. Peter Jennings goes past him. Loggy not happy with his performance thus far in this race, and a challenge for the lead. Here comes the Mosler at Agostini, classic pass point here at Snet, and through goes Kevin Riley into the lead. I wonder if we're going to see the GTO car now start to pull clear. Ian Loggy passed by Chris Docker, who's sawing his way through the field and has now caught Peter Jennings. Jennings running in GTC, Dockrell running in GTO, and you can see this has been a wonderful meeting for Chris. It's going to be a massive confidence boost for him. Ian Loggy in behind, he will hand over for the second sprint race to Chris Jones. Ian Loggy then into Murray's. This is so tight now, virtually 90-degree corner. I've seen it catch many a driver out in club racing this year, but haven't seen anyone falling foul of it here in GT Cup. Chris Dockrell on his charge, pulls out of the slipstream of Peter Jennings, and the GTO car passes the GTC. I think that's through into 6th position, so a good points all here for Chris Dockrell in the credit card sales Ferrari 430. Still though, Kevin Riley out front, and it's form an orderly queue at the moment for second, third and fourth. Jacques Diver does what he needs to do to go through on the inside of Will Goff. Diver now has got a clear run at the class leader ahead of him. So Alex Martin leads class. Here is Ross McEwen coming through and dicing with Mike Seller. Mike, a name I first came across in the Rallycross Championship and enjoying his racing here in GT Cup this season. A very talented addition to the grid. But back to the front, Jacques Diver down the inside for second place in the class lead. Diver goes through, he's having a wonderful meeting here at Snetterton and passes championship leader Alex Martin. Will Goff still in contention there in 4th place. Problems for Rossen Daskalov in the Sin. It's on fire. Let's hope that engine problem's not leaving any fluid on the track. Off too goes Jeff Wyatt. Overall championship contender Jeff Wyatt. Oh, Bobby, Jacques Diver's going for the lead round the outside of the Mosler. He's got him. Jacques Diver takes the lead of the race. Fantastic manoeuvre by Jacques, who takes the lead. And Kevin Riley's down to second place now. Up in third is Alex Martin, and Martin must be fancying his chances of second place here, maybe at the expense of Kevin Riley. Riley gets up to full chat, looks at the inside line, virtually buzzing the pit wall, squeezes through, and Kevin Riley gets the GTO Mosler back into the lead. On board with Jacques Divers. Can he hang on to this round the outside? No, he can't. And through. What a terrific race this is. Marshall's on the scene for Rossen Daskalov's car. So Kevin Riley onto the last lap with a good lead in the Mosler. Jacques Diver in second position. Third place is Alex Martin. Fourth is Will Goff. And it looks pretty much like that's the way they're going to finish, although now closing up is Alex Martin, who looks for second place, goes back to the outside line as they come around Coram. Kevin Riley's been caught. Now outside line for Alex Martin, who's challenging hard. He's gone past 2 cars. Fantastic stuff from Alex Martin, who's got into the lead. Diver's coming through as well. Looks up the inside of Riley. It looks like a battle for second now. Riley's got back into second place. And now the run to the line. Is Alex Martin going to hang on? Look at this, 4 cars. A blanket finish. And Martin takes it. Riley in second place. Jacques Diver third. And Will Goff in fourth. What an incredible race. If you haven't seen GT Cup this year, make sure you come and see our last round at Donington Park. A big bouncy moment over the grass for car number 11, Ian Dockrell, who's going to recover to finish 5th. But a fantastic race, an overall victory for Alex Martin. GTO and second to Kevin Riley, Jacques Diver third. Will Goff wins GTB in 4th position ahead of Ian and Chris Dockrell. Ross McEwen is the GTA winner in 12th place and fastest laps to Kevin Riley, Jacques Diver, Will Goff and Ben Tompkins in GTA.
Alex, I don't really know where to start with that race. At first I thought you were playing it safe because you were actually lapping slower than you were in qualifying, and then literally just before the checkered flag you just took the lead. Where did you come from?
Well, I'd spotted out where all of the coolant, someone dropped coolant down on the track, and I just picked my line, so just crossed it in a straight line where they were trying to turn on it, and I just had the drive, and then they tried to go on the inside into the last corner, and I just slung it around the outside.
Kevin, you took the lead with about 8 minutes to go. We were all rooting for you, and then literally out of nowhere Alex passed you. So just tell us what happened right just before the checkered flag there.
I made two serious mistakes. One, I got complacent. I saw the gap between us and thought I can ease off now for the last 2 laps. They didn't, I did. They were close to me, I thought they can't pass me anyway. Got to Coram, it's covered in oil. I thought, I know, I'll back off and they'll fall off. Didn't work, did it?
Well, winner of the GTB class. It was a brilliant race. You were hot on the heels with Alex there, putting the pressure on, but you couldn't quite go for the pass.
Yeah, no, I was trying. I got the jump on him off the start, and then he came back up the inside of me about 2 corners in, and that was it. I just couldn't get past. So I was thinking, well, if I can keep pace with him, hopefully we can sort of pull away a little bit, which is what we did. But we just got, as the race progressed, the power of something like power of the Mosler and whatnot just chipped away at us, and a couple of mistakes 3/4 of the way through let the other cars past, and that was that.
Ross, congratulations, winner of your class. Tell us about your race, tell us about your start. Were you happy with the result?
Thank you. Yeah, it was a tough race actually for me. I was struggling a bit with the car, so right from the start I had to manage the tyres for the whole race, and I was getting incrementally caught by the guys behind me, but with the oil spill at the end, that kind of mixed up the pack a bit and enabled me to take the win. So delighted, and all thanks to the team for all their hard work.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I'm joined with Ian and Chris Dockrell now, another father and son pairing. Just tell us what's it like to compete at the GT Cup Championship together.
I'm enjoying it, but we're not really competing together because he's too far behind me at the moment. So I'm giving him a target to aim for, so I'm waiting for the whippersnappers to catch up.
That sounded like a little dig to me. Are you quite competitive between the two of you?
Well, if I carry on winning at such a quick rate, then I'll be going fishing this time next year, so I've got to let him win some.
You've got to love the family banter in the GT Cup Championship. Chris Dockrell lines up in P2 for this one. Kevin Riley, GTO pole. Jacques Diver, pole position for GTC. On the 3rd row, GTB pole again to Will Goff. And back on row 7, GTA pole this time going to Ben Tompkins from Ross McEwen. Expect a close race between those two. Lap from the first sprint race determines the grid positions for this, the 3rd and final race of the day. Kevin Riley on pole, Chris Dockrell to his outside. Here they come down into turn 1 for the first time, on board with Chris Jones, who takes over for Ian Logie. Jacques Diver in the thick of it as well. On the outside is Alex Martin. It really is a scramble for second place at the moment, because Kevin Riley looks like he won't want to give up the lead. He didn't give it up really, of course, in race 1, or the first sprint race. You heard his own admission in the post-race interview as we go on board with Chris Jones challenging Chris Dockrell, who annexes second place. Jones working hard, 3rd at the moment. Then it's Will Goff, Ian Dockrell, followed by the yellow Ferrari of championship leader Alex Martin. It doesn't look as if Martin's going to be able to secure the championship. Extra points on offer for Donington Park for drivers that do both rounds, so the overall championship is going to go to the wire, which is great for the GT Cup Championship, great for the spectators who are going to have a fine day out at Donington. Meanwhile, we continue to enjoy things here in Norfolk. Chris Jones running well. Ian Dockerell, the winner of the longer race, there down behind him in car number 11. Chris Dockerell in second, you can see there. Kevin Riley starting to pull away. Onto the Bentley straight for the first time. Chris Jones opens up, looks down the inside. That converts to the outside when they get into the Brundle corner. Jones there as well. Ian Dockerell coming through too and switches back to the outside. Chris Jones, I was going to say defensive there, but attacking for that second place as well as Kevin Riley continues to get away in the Mosler. The Riley here, if he can maintain his... Mike Seller's gone off. Problems for the Kent-based driver. Ross McEwen and several other cars going through. Mike's back on track, just nearly clipped Marcus Vivian there in the G50. I think all escaped okay. As they come into Murray's for the first time. There's a car peeling off into the pit lane. It's Kevin Riley, the Mosler, has gone absent and into the pit lane. Marcus Vivian has a spin. Mike Seller this time has to avoid him and gets through safely. I think Marcus will recover. So that leaves Chris Dockerell in lead position. Dockerell leads. Second position is Chris Jones. Getting back going again, Marcus Vivian, who started 17th on the grid. So Marcus in the Reflex Racing Ginetta G50. We've got two Ginettas in this one, so a whole host of marques represented. But Chris Dockerell in the Ferrari, the credit car sales entered 430, leading from Chris Jones in the Porsche 997 GT3, prepared by Team Parker Racing. Jack Diver going hard. Chris Jones, oh, he's fighting the wheel. Is he going to hang on? Is he going to get past? And through into second place goes Ian Dockerell. So Ian Dockerell through into second. There's Chris Jones in 24. Three Porsches, second, third and fourth at the moment. And Chris Dockerell not getting away. Dockerell leading the race, GTO race leader. We need to have a look back and see who's leading GTC. Well, there is Alex Martin. It's Jack Diver in the black car in front. Peter Jennings coming through as well. Peter running in GTC too. Down the inside, this is the scrap for second place in GTC. Alex Martin's got the inside line and Peter Jennings manages to annex that. So second place points potentially in the offing for him. Alex Martin, GTC class champion. In GTA, Jeff Wyatt will take the plaudits as a change for the lead. Through goes the dad. It was wonderful banter before the race that we had from the two guys. Back on board with Chris Jones, now challenging for second place. Jack Diver closing up as well. Will Goff, look how close this racing is. Superb stuff from GT Cup. Jennings past Alex Martin. Ian Dockerell leads. Back on board with Peter Jennings. Alex Martin back in front of him. Rejoining the race, Ben Tompkins. And very, very sadly out of the race is the Mosler. Dan Stringfellow has a moment off the circuit and rejoins. Dan still in with a shout of the GTB honours at the moment. Ian Loggy and Chris Jones will go away with the lead in GTB, which they will have to defend into the last round. Chris Dockerell back in front, passes for the lead. There is Rupert Martin up ahead of Dan Stringfellow. Rupert in the GTC car, Dan in GTB at the moment running third in class behind Will Goff and Chris Jones. So at the moment it's Dockerell's first and second, and running wide goes Ian Dockerell, and Chris Jones trying hard to catch up. What if we're going to get two Chris's on the podium here? At the moment Chris Jones running in third place in the 24 car, followed by Jack Diver, who is still leading GTC in the black 458 Ferrari. But now being hounded, as you can see, by Alex Martin, the FF Corsa car, chasing and beginning, I think, to close in from where he was a couple of laps back. So Alex Martin looking for another class win to add to the collection. You remember Jacques and Charlie won the class in the first race. Alex Martin won the second one, so this almost the decider for the GTC boys. Dan Stringfellow really having a super race here with Rupert Martin. BMW chases Ferrari, and Dan working hard. Dan, class winner in race 2 at Donington Park at the season opener, seems to be scoring some useful points here as well. Chris Jones still second. Jack Diver challenges for second place, and Agostini goes through. Now will Chris Jones leave the door open? There's contact! And Alex Martin goes through. Contact between Jones and Diver, and Alex Martin nips through to take second place. It's still Chris Dockrell out front. He's got the fastest lap of the race too, lapping in the 156s. Diver's in the 56 bracket as well. Now, has that damaged the cars? Look at that! Virtually being pushed round there, Rupert Martin. The BMW gets all sideways, loses a little bit of ground, scrubs some speed off with the opposite lock, and Rupert Martin continues on his way, 8th position at the moment. Rupert back on board with Jacques Diver, challenging hard. Chris Jones still out front, and Diver goes through. Chris Jones down to 4th. He's still winning GTB though, so Jones leading GTB from Will Goff. There's Goff just at the back of the quartet. Peter Jennings is there as well in the white Ferrari. This is superb racing. Past Marcus Vivian in the Reflex Ginetta G50. He's passed. Jacques Diver goes through in 3rd place. Alex Martin still 2nd and leading class. Chris Dockrell leading GTO. And off goes Peter Jennings. So Jennings and around the FF Corsa car, keeps it going. He'll rejoin, but there's Chris Dockrell leading this one. Coming up to lap Mike Seller in the 997. Mike pulls well clear. Very good track etiquette from the Kent-based driver. Here's the battle for GTB honours. Chris Jones is there, but Chris Dockrell takes the win. What a great win for Dockrell. Flash of lights from Mike Seller to congratulate him. Alex Martin takes GTC in 2nd place from Jacques Diver. Here's the scrabble to the flag for GTB, which goes the way of Chris Jones. Will Goff will take 5th place and 2nd place in class for GTB. But it's Chris Dockrell that takes the win. Fantastic for Chris. Overall win, GTO class with points as well. Alex Martin in 2nd from Jacques Diver. Chris Jones wins GTB by taking 4th place, and Ross McEwen makes it a hat-trick in GTA, winning that class from Jeff Wyatt. Fastest laps for Chris Dockrell, Jacques Diver, Chris Jones and Ross McEwen.
Chris, congratulations, overall winner.
It's hot in there, by the way.
Clearly it is a bit hot. And you got the fastest lap of the race. You must be feeling pretty good at the moment.
I didn't know actually. No, just basically once we actually sorted out all the stuff with the start of the race, getting past people, it's just literally stick to your lines, make sure you make no mistakes, and the win will come.
We've extended the championship lead. Just got to hope that it's enough to win the championship. I suppose we'll have to count on a bit of luck. But I was really trying to pound the laps in to get that fastest lap once I had some clean air. But no, I just didn't pull it off.
Yeah, it was good. Good race, good little battle. Enjoyed it. Great result for the lads. Obviously, Ian had a bad result over the last couple of races, so good to get him a win.
Ross, you put in a really consistent performance throughout the whole weekend. Are you happy?
Yeah, I'm delighted. It's my first time at Snetterton. To get a hat-trick of victories in the GTA class is exactly what we hoped for, and it couldn't have gone better.
Here's the championship table going to the last round at Donington Park, and the championship between Alex Martin and Jeff Wyatt. Martin leads GTC and he's won that class. Jeff Wyatt too has won GTA. GTO has been sewn up by Kevin Riley. He's down in 6th position. And GTB honours yet to be decided at the moment. It's Ian Loggy and Chris Jones who hold sway there.
Join us for the next and final meet at Donington Park, where the battle for the championship crown continues. Until then, goodbye.